I just want to give a shout out and some flowers to Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper. They were recruited to the club during the 2022 trade period. Tiger fans were excited, thinking that the addition of these bona fide midfielders would have the club challenging again for a premiership in 2023.
Some good news since. So Taranto nominating Richmond, and then the news today that Jacob Hopper's nominated Richmond.
Yeah, I mean...
Exciting.
Well, very exciting. Very exciting, but you can't get too carried away because there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge. The fact of the matter is they're both very good players, so we're going to have to give up a fair bit to get them. And it'll be interesting to see whether the deals are done separately or if they're done as a conglomerate. So, no, I think it just shows that there's talent out there in the AFL that believe that we're in a pretty good window, as we believe too. As you said, we lost the last 5 games we lost were all under a goal. So we feel like we can be a challenger again next year.
It was reported that Dustin Martin was involved in luring Tim and Jacob, a man, I'd imagine, who you couldn't say no to. Entering the 2023 season didn't start like everyone thought it would, and the criticism of our big-time recruits didn't take long to occur.
I think it's a horrific deal, is what I'm saying. Now, you three might disagree. I think it's about as bad a trade as we've seen in a long time on current evidence.
But, mate, they've been 5 games into one club.
On current evidence.
One club, mate. You've got to let them find their groove.
They got 7 years left. They got 7 years left.
So that means they've got him for the future. They're going to try and fit himself into the game, into the team.
Taranto currently can't kick a drop punt.
I would argue they're
There's
not
been
the problem.
plenty of players that haven't been able to kick game that have had a long career.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve.
So summing up, you're saying you don't like the deal.
I'm saying it's a horrific
You had me
deal.
confused.
I reckon you've jumped early on this one.
Okay, well, we'll come back.
For one person, I wouldn't give up those picks, but for 2, I probably would. If
so
they're going to be
you
2
would
players,
do that deal again right now.
If
7 years,
if
big
you
money.
had the belief that these guys are going to take your midfield and charge on for the next 7 years and bring you back up to
Do
premiership.
you have
because
that
obviously-
belief, Hodgie?
Well, clearly they do.
No, do you?
I haven't watched those 2 close enough. I realise that Taranto started off the season really well. Yes, his kicking's let him down. Hopper's been in and out a little bit. It hasn't been as good. But, mate, they're 5 games in. I remember when, as I said, a lot of it you bring back to your own experiences. We got Jager and Tommy Mitchell in. We missed finals the next year. They brought them back up to top 4 in 2018. So I wouldn't be jumping 5 games into a 7-year contract.
And after round 10, breaking news comes out on a Monday night that our 3-time premiership coach Dimma has quit the Richmond Tigers, shocking the AFL world. Stating for reasons like being burnt out. August 2023, Damien Hardwick Dimma had been announced the Gold Coast Suns' new head coach for the 2024 season. Richmond fans have been divided in Dimma's decisions and comments since, such as stating in his new coaching appointment press conference that it's like Christmas having a new set of toys.
Over to me. First of all, I'd just like to thank Bob and Mark for giving me the opportunity to coach this wonderful club. I'm very, very, very excited. I likened it to waking up on Christmas Day and walking out to a set of brand new toys, which is very exciting. You know, to have.
He also took Richmond staff, coaches, and ex-players, fan favorite Daniel Rioli, and leaving a sour taste in most Richmond fans' mouths, the rumors of trying lure our GOAT Dustin Martin to the Gold Coast. Feeling bad for Timmy and Hop, also having key premiership heroes retire, pretty much ending all their hopes and promises. So about a year later on Saturday night, Dimma's new toys were defeated by a Richmond team a year into their rebuild, led by 2 players who he promised the world to and bailed on in Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper. Good on them for sticking it up him. Here is an elite summary from a must-follow Instagram account, The Richmond Journey, about Timmy and Hop. These 2 have copped more unwarranted criticism than just about any midfield duo in the league, but tonight, they reminded everyone exactly why we went after them. Taranto with 35 disposals, Hopper with 27, and both cracking in until the final siren. But that's not just stat padding, that's leadership through action. They've been shouldering the load, mentoring a young midfield group, and absorbing every hit. It's about time people stopped questioning and started appreciating. They're not the problem. They're a massive part of the solution.
Fist comes Yule and throws himself wholeheartedly at the footy. Overruns it there.